Good morning, YouTube, Flosstube, every tube. I'm Erica, and I am here to talk to you about my stitching and sewing this week. A little awkward, first time. So for those of you who don't know me, I live in Colorado. I have a 3-year-old son and a 1-year-old daughter. My husband is in the Army, so we just moved here from Alaska 5 months ago. Alaska was beautiful and cold and awful and wonderful all at the same time. We lived in Fairbanks, so it was 6 hours north of Anchorage. We couldn't even see a mountain from where we were living. Like on a good, really clear day, we could see the range where Denali was, which was about 2.5 hours away. But I was like, this is such a ripoff. You know, I lived in Florida my whole life, and then I was the one that said, hey, let's go to Alaska. And we get there and we can't even see a mountain. I have been cross-stitching for 10 years and quilting for 2 months. Yeah, 2 months. And I got into cross stitch when I was in graduate school, and I think I had an Etsy shop open then. I think so. I was selling jewelry on Etsy at the time, and I picked up cross stitch through Craftster. I don't know how many of you guys are old enough to really remember Craftster. It's still around, but I just don't think it's as popular anymore. But I would troll the forums there all the time and get all these great ideas, and I saw some cute cross stitch and I decided to join in. So I think it's been about 10 years. I did not stitch consistently throughout that time. I took breaks for years at a time. Most recently when I had my kids, because I had them, 2 years apart in the middle of moving from Florida to Alaska and then Alaska to Colorado, and it's just been chaos. But now I am getting a life again. And so picking up all of the crafting that I used to do pre-kids. I did teach for 10 years, almost 10 years, at 2 colleges in Florida. I taught psychology, and that's about it. I had a health and fitness blog for a long time. I started that in 2012. I ran that through, I think, early 2017, so about 5 years. So most of the people who follow me on Instagram follow me because they found my health and fitness blog at some point. And I'm still into health and fitness, just not nearly as much as I used to be. I used to train for marathons. I ran 3 the year before my son was born. And then you have kids and you can't run for 4 hours on the weekend anymore because you've got stuff to do with your family. So that's my little background, my little intro. And now I'm going to show you some stitching that I've done. So first I'm going to show you guys some old finishes. This is old, and I'm just like, I don't know where to look. So like I said, this is going to be a little awkward because this is my first one, but I promise I will get better. So when I used to stitch before, this is the stuff that I would stitch. Like snarky, what is it, subversive cross stitch, like stuff like that. That's what I was really into. Y'all gonna make me lose my mind up in here. And I wanna say I stitched this when I was pregnant with my son, which is pretty funny because they do make me lose my mind on a regular basis. And I was like psychic. I knew that that was gonna happen. I don't know where the rest of my finishes have gone. At one point, I had an entire wall. I'm in my bedroom right now. I hate this door. And we were gonna put white doors and trim in, but it's gonna take a while and a little bit of money. I don't know where all of my stitches went. I used to do a lot of embroidery, a lot of cross stitch, and I had an entire wall full. I'll try to find a picture too. When I lived on my own in a little studio apartment, it was so cute. And I don't know where they went. They went to the big stitch in the sky, I guess, because I cannot find them anywhere. But this isn't even that old. This is, like I said, 3-4 years old if I was pregnant at the time. So we'll see if I can find them. But that's the type of stuff that I was stitching. It was never anything like I'm stitching now. It was never full coverage. It was always just quick, simple designs. And then, like I said, I did do some embroidery. So this is one of my recent, I finished this maybe three months ago. And this is just a kit from Walmart. Maybe $7. All good things are wild and free. I love the colors. I really like embroidery because it's a lot faster than cross stitch. But there's not as many patterns like printed. There are a lot of iron-ons, and I do have some iron-on sets that I need to start using. So let me move these over here. I have this huge table set up of everything I want to go through. At first I was like, I don't know if I'm going to have much to talk about. And then I started pulling everything and I was like, well, this is going to be a 2-hour video. It's not, don't worry, but I do have a lot to talk about. I was so excited to do this morning. I couldn't sleep, you guys. Like, how much of a dork is that? I got up at like 6:30 and I worked out. I got dressed, I got my kids ready, I set them down to breakfast, and I told my husband, you got it, dude. I'll see you in an hour. So If you hear any screaming downstairs, it's either my kids or my husband. They should be fine. So I have this big binder that I hold all of my quilting patterns and my cross stitch patterns in. So these are some other previous finishes, and then I'll go on to current works in progress, a little bit of haul. Oh, and then a giveaway. And I don't know where it is. Oh, it's right there. Ha! I'm so prepared. Okay, so like I said, I finished both of these within the last month for sure, maybe even like 2 or 3 weeks. This one's Country Cottage Needleworks from their Cottage of the Month series. I'm not going to do all of them because I really only like to do seasonal cross stitch, or holiday I should say. So this is the 4th of July one. I think, okay, there's no needle in it. There was like one spot I had to touch up still before I actually finished it and framed it. But I really like it. I want to do a couple more Americana 4th of July pieces. Liberty Hill, maybe one of them. I look like a stitching ninja right now. I can't remember the other ones, but there's a couple 4th of July ones. I really just like doing the holiday colors. It's so fun. Cross stitching is so relaxing to me. Like, I'll get into quilting here in just a minute, but right now I'm not speaking to quilting. I had a traumatic experience 2 days ago, so I don't get that with cross stitch. I don't get traumatic experiences. Like, I mess up. I'll show you on one of my current whips. There's a part that I have to take out, but it's not nearly as bad when you mess up on a cross stitch as it is when you mess up on a quilt. This is the other recent finish, another Country Cottage Needleworks, Farm Fresh. I might have dirt under my nails from gardening. I might start doing gardening videos too. If you guys have any interest in that, comment below and let me know. I have 150 seeds that I'm literally looking at right now all over my bed, and I have a mini greenhouse. I'm starting another 75 this week, and I'm planting outside soon. I'm gonna be growing like 30 plants. It's excessive. Have I ever grown before? No. Do I know what I'm doing? Absolutely not. But it's gonna be fun. And I'm growing twice as much as what I think I might actually need, assuming half of it will die, the squirrels will eat half. Good math. So this is the Farm Fresh, and there is still a needle in this one because I need to finish. I'm glad I posted this. That was for my 4th of July one on Instagram, because somebody pointed out I still need to put in a little thread right here. But this one's super, super cute. Like I said, I really like gardening, and so this was my first finish since I started getting into cross stitch again a couple months ago. I loved all the details and little chicken and sunflowers, and we're gonna be growing sunflowers and carrots and apples and lettuce and all this. So those are all my recent cross stitching finishes. I haven't actually fully finished anything because I suck at that. I will tell everybody that I don't think that I am very creative. Or I shouldn't say I'm not very artistic. I am creative. I have always been making things. Like, my first business was in 4th grade with my best friend Jamie, and it was J&E Jewelry. I don't think we sold anything, but I've always just been creative. But I'm not artistic, so it's really hard for me to have an eye for things. Like, when it comes to quilting, I can't go to a fabric store and just be like, oh, I'm gonna pick this color and this one, it's gonna look fabulous together. I can't do that. I would pick all primary colors and it would look like something a 2nd grader would put together. So I have to use like pre-cuts. So moving on to my whips. This one, I got all my thread in here, so let me push that down so you can actually see it. Another Country Cottage Needleworks. I clearly really like them. This is their seasonal Santa sampler. I don't know what that's, Santa sampler. And if you look below, I'm gonna have links to everything. So there's that. I really like this one because it's just a little bit of everything. You get to stitch a Santa and some cookies and a Christmas tree and reindeer. And it's been a pretty quick stitch as well. So I started this maybe 2 weeks ago, and I've been working on it on and off with other things. I kind of don't like Santa's skin tone. It's a little too pink. I don't know. Looking at it on camera, it looks fine. So you're supposed to do French knots for the eyes, which is absolutely not going to happen because I could not do a French knot if somebody, you know, was threatening to kill me and my life depended on it. I can't do it. I have watched YouTube videos. I've read books, like I've seen illustrations. I just cannot do it. I am a very hands-on learner. So like I took a cross stitch or crochet class a couple months ago because crocheting is something I've always wanted to do. And I can watch YouTube videos for 12 hours straight and I just can't do it. And so this cute little lady literally was teaching me coming behind me, moving my hands, like showing me how to do it. And now I know. And I made a really cute headband for my daughter. But I'm kind of the same with really anything. My mom was the one, she taught me how to quilt when she was here in February. And I should say make quilt tops, but I'll get to that when I get to quilting. I'm gonna blame my mom for everything. Makes it easy. So I just have the Merry Christmas part and then the bottom border to finish up. So this will definitely get finished up this week. Look at the cute little cookies and milk. I love that. Okay, another whip that I do not love. And I hate to say that because the pattern is super cute. I'll show you guys the pattern first. This is Quilter's Cottage by Lori Holt, Fatquartershop. Love it. My mom has hinted quite a few times that she wants it already. Sorry, Mom. Mostly because I'm not going to give it to her because it's not stitching up very well. And it's because of the cloth. So this is a 10 count burlap type cloth. Everything else I do is 14 count Aida or Witchell or something. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Y'all, I'm not a fancy flosser. I've never even used fancy floss. I use DMC, 14 count Aida. That's it. I would like to try others. I would like to try even weave. I just haven't. I stick to what I know. My husband and I, we both get a budget every month of how much money we can spend on whatever we want for ourselves. Haircuts, hobbies, clothes, like it all comes out of the same allowance. I don't want to call it an allowance, which is budget line that we each have. And I don't want to spend, $20 on a fabric to cross stitch that I might not like. So if I should really try even weave, convince me. Like tell me why it's so much better than Aida. I don't mind the look of Aida. I think that's some of the arguments I've heard for even weaves, that you can't see the holes as much. I don't mind that. It's cross stitch. You can see some holes. So, but the reason that this is giving me such a hard time, I'm gonna just hide, is because it's a 10 count and it's super, super soft and flimsy, and it's really hard for me to get the tension right on the stitches. And I'm also gonna show you the back of it because I call myself a mullet stitcher. It's business in the front and party in the back. My cross stitches do not look nice and neat. I travel, I have random strings everywhere, I have knots in my stuff. I don't care, y'all. No one will ever see this, ever. So would I like for them to be flawless backings? Sure. Will I put any time and effort into achieving that? No. I would rather just stitch quickly and work on what I want to work on. So all I have to do to finish this up is the house in the center and then another tree and landscaping on the side. So this one will also hopefully be finished up this week because I'm pretty close on these two. And then when I have a little bit of haul, I'll show you what I want to start working on next. Oh my gosh, my little Disney cup's so cute. I guess you can't really see it. And I worked out arms today and they're like literally hurting to pull that coffee cup up. And we're gonna go on a hike with our kids after this. Okay, so my last whip, and I don't even know if I really should call this a whip. I think they're called UFOs, like just unfinished objects, and it's not even anywhere near being done because I'm not actively working on this at all. It is a Mill Hill design, and I don't think I found a link to this one, but it's called Gingerbread House. And we got these, my husband and I each picked out one. It might have been the first year we were married. No, because we went to his family's in Ohio for Christmas. It was the second year. So my son was born September. There was no way I was gonna be working on this and have it done for Christmas. The thought was that we were going to do it and give it to his grandparents and somebody else I can't even remember. Somebody who would appreciate it. And it was really, really cute. I've never worked with buttons and beads. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Sorry, I'm a little all over the place. So excited. French knots are supposed to be happening for the eyes. I don't think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna do beads. And there's supposed to be like sprinkles on the cookies and stuff on the stockings. I think I'm just gonna do beads everywhere. But like I said, I've never worked with beads, so I'm a little nervous, but I think it'll be fine. I wanted to get cute Christmas colored beads and just some black ones for his eyes. And I think that would be really pretty because whenever I frame stuff, I don't put glass in it. I like to see the stitches. I like to see the 3-dimension on the fabric and just to be able to really see everything. And also, I'm cheap, so that saves money not having the glass. So this is as much progress as I've gotten on the gingerbread house in 3 years. This was before I got into stitching again very regularly, and it's not full coverage, but it's pretty freaking close. and it's just taking forever. I mean, this honestly probably took me 10 to 12 hours just to do this part, where that Santa sampler, I've maybe put 20 hours in. So you can see the difference. It's much more immediately satisfying to do one of these bigger designs. I would like to finish this up still. It's just not motivating. It's just, I mean, look at it now. There's nothing here. There's nothing cute. I don't get to do a little Santa. I'm not stitching little cookies and milk. Like, I'm just stitching, oh, flying away. I'm just stitching like a window for a week of my life. So, I don't know. We'll see. I might finish that eventually. Okay, so the last little thing that's cross-stitching related, and then I'll show you guys some quilt stuff that I've worked on. So, and I don't know what to call these. Like, I'm gonna call them Flosstubes because that's primarily what this is. But I'm also showing stitching stuff. And so I was like talking with my friend yesterday. I was like, what is it, sew tube? Craft tube? Quilt tube? I don't know. Is there like a whole other world of crafting videos relating to quilting that I don't know about? Because I would love to be in that family. So I got these this week. This one I actually got a little, maybe two or 3 weeks ago, but I'm gonna start working on this one as soon as I finish one of these. I don't like to have a lot of whips. I know some people don't mind that. I am very minimalist at heart. Like you can see, this is literally the only 2 things on my wall in the whole bedroom. And the bedroom is freaking huge. And I just hung those this morning. So there would be something behind the wall so I didn't look like I was in a jail cell for you guys. Because it's like, we have this gray paint, which is really pretty in person. But I'm like, okay, I'm gonna look like I'm in prison because there's nothing on the walls and it's gray. So I'm kind of a minimalist. And so it's hard for me to have 20 projects going at once. Even though I do, but not all cross stitch. So I think 3 or 4 is kind of a good number for me. And so as soon as I finish one of these this week, I'm gonna start this one. This is a Tiny Modernist Happy Easter. Really, really cute. I already have the thread I got from, who knows, Hobby Lobby, Joann's, who knows. Shouldn't take more than maybe a week. I just need to find a way to finish them. I went to the thrift store to try to find frames and I couldn't find any that were the right size. Now, I do know I could just get like a bigger frame and have something like this and just mount it on sticky board and have like fabric on the frame so that it doesn't matter if the frame's the same size. I don't know. Like I said, it's hard because I'm not really artistic, but I'll figure it out. This I just got yesterday. This is the Little House Needleworks Hometown Holiday Series. I'm trying to see so there's not a glare. Oh my gosh. My mom's like, it looks like a school. I'm like, I don't know what kind of school you went to. It's clearly a firehouse. And there's a Dalmatian and a fire hydrant. I actually emailed Fatquartershop last week and I said, hey, you guys have one of the Hometown Holiday Series and I would like all of the Hometown Holiday Series. Could you make this happen? Because I'd rather spend my money with you guys because I really, really love Kimberly and their customer service, and I shop there all the time anyways for quilting stuff, and they wrote me back and they said, just ordered. So that's really exciting. I want to say there's 17 total. And so if you look on Instagram, hashtag Little House Needleworks, some of the top posts are from this series. Some people will do like 3x3 square, so 9 patterns total. I've seen people do 2 rows, like an actual village scene. I've seen people sew them up separately and make Christmas ornaments out of them. And so I'm kind of trying to decide how I want to stitch this up. I have a Christmas tree that I put in my room last year, like right in the corner, and I didn't even put any ornaments on it. My kids and I made a paper garland and that was it. And then the big tree's downstairs. And I thought it would be really cute if I made these into ornaments. And I had a whole tree just with the Hometown Holiday Series, because it's not a really big tree. But I also would love to put them all together as like a Christmas scene as a big cross stitch. So I'm not sure what I should do. If you guys have done this, tell me what you've done, please. I really need inspiration. And this one's not cute, but this is like one of my least favorite designs and I still love it. The other ones are insanely cute. I cannot wait to start stitching these. Each one says is 5.5 by 3 3/4. So I'm guessing 3 3/4, 5.5. So they're pretty small. I would probably try to get one done a week. And so if it was 17, then that would be like 4 months, 5 months. Probably about 4 months of stitching. My last little haul for the week was a Q-snap. I stitch in hand for small projects. So like the Santa sampler, I will just roll that down. Here, I'll show you guys. Because I'm visual too. So if people are talking about something and not showing me, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. So now that I'm like working down on this section, I will just roll it down to where I'm stitching and then stitch like that. And it's pretty easy for me still. It's a little hard on this side because I've got to like, you know, embrace it lovingly, but otherwise it's pretty easy and it goes rather quickly. I don't do the sewing method. I've tried it. I don't like the way that the stitches look for me. It's something where you just have to practice and then they'll look fine, and I'm not that interested, so I'm just gonna keep doing the stick and stab. But for bigger projects like the Quilter's Cottage, I do use a hoop. And I keep hearing, like I said from Kimberly, usually how great Q-snaps are. So I went ahead and got an 11 by 11. I did have the 8 by 8 in my cart, and then I was like, why? Because I just stitch in hand with the small projects. So I got the 11 by 11. I'm a little scared to use these because I always hear that they're really stiff and that they're kind of hard at first, and then they like loosen up the more that you use them. So I need to just get over that fear and practice with it. Probably on some Ada that I haven't stitched on yet because I'm just paranoid that I'm gonna like rip the stitches out or do something wrong with these. So that was my other haul for the week. And then I guess I'll show you guys some of the quilt tops that I have been working on before I get to the giveaway. And next week I am going to show you guys 2 of my mom's quilts because they are inspiring to me. I don't know how to word this so that I don't hurt her feelings. I already told her I was gonna do it though, so she knows. They're inspiring to me because the first quilt that she ever finished was my son's. And it looks like the first quilt she ever finished. It's beautiful, it's sweet, it's sentimental, it's structurally sound, you know, everything's fine with it. But when you compare it to the quilt that she did for my daughter, which I think was maybe her 5th or 6th quilt, it's night and day. And so when I had my quilting meltdown 2 days ago, I thought about it, and I was thinking like, my quilting now looks like my mom's first quilt, which is fine. Everybody has to start somewhere, you know, like you're not just gonna wake up one morning and be like, I'm gonna start quilting and make award-winning quilts. You have to put in the time and the practice. And so when I'm thinking about like, this sucks, I wanna give it up, I think about what my mom's quilts look like now, and they're gorgeous. So next week I will show you my mom's first one and her 5th or 6th one, and it's just amazing how different they look. Let me see. Oh, I'll show you my first one too. So backing everything up a little bit, my mom came here in February. My parents live in Florida. She came here in February, and I really wanted to learn how to sew. It has been something that I have wanted to do for a decade plus. My dad tried to show me once or twice on these ancient machines. It's actually out in storage now, or else I would show you. And so my mom brought up one of her sewing machines because she's got like 4, because she inherits them. She's in a little quilting bee, and they'll sell them to her for super cheap if they buy new ones and upgrade. So she brought me this one. It was a Singer Sonata from like 1960. Heaviest thing in the world. If I started stitching too fast, the whole table would shake. But it stitched, and it was fine. And I learned how to sew on that, and she showed me how to, you know, thread it, do the bobbin, sew a straight line, sew a 1/4 inch seam. She showed me how to cut correctly, got me really set up. And so I went to a quilting shop with her and found this really cute Christmas layer cake. The layer cakes are just 10-inch squares, 42 of them, I think. And I was like, well, I'm just gonna make a patchwork quilt, really easy. So I lined them up, I think it was a 4x5, and she's like, oh, you should put sashing in there. And I was like, oh, okay, not realizing how much extra work that involved, thanks, Mom. So I have green sashing in there and a green border, and it's green backing. And I get the quilt top done, and it looks pretty good for my first quilt, it really does. And then my mom gets very, very sick the day before she's supposed to leave, or 2 days before, and doesn't want to get the kids sick, so she does not come back to show me how to quilt it, how to bind it, how to do anything, how to make the quilt layer cake, like how to make the quilt sandwich, nothing. She showed me how to make quilt tops, so I can make beautiful quilt tops now. But beyond that, I have been struggling. And I know that that's not just me. I almost posted it in Kimberly's Facebook group asking, like, is there anyone else that makes really good quilt tops but then just sucks at actual quilting and binding? And then I didn't even post it because I already know the answer is yes. That's why people pay lots of money to have other people quilt their stuff on a long arm machine. It's like this $20,000 massive machine that will quilt it for you. My mom quilts by hand. Ain't nobody got time for that when you got 2 little kids. So I have been trying to quilt on this new machine that I got. my old machine started giving out on me. It constantly was jamming, like there was issues with the bobbin and the tension, and my mom's like, oh yeah, that kind of happened once before. I had to pay to get serviced. It was like 60 bucks. I was like, oh my gosh, like I could get a new machine for twice that, but I couldn't afford it. I start crying when I talk about this. So I was talking to one of my dearest friends about how it was like the worst day ever. Lots of stuff was going on. While my mom was here, she found out she had breast cancer. It's all gone. It was stage 1. She just has to do some radiation now. A couple weeks later, I'm using the sewing machine after she left. A sewing machine crapped out on me. I was like, God, this just sucks. And I think I said to my friend, like, can't today get any worse? And she was like, I don't know, but your Monday's about to get a whole lot better. And she bought me a freaking sewing machine. It is a beautiful Brother sewing quilting machine. It's been amazing. It stitches like night and day. The other one was fine. This one is, I don't want to say dummy proof, but it makes it a lot easier. So anyways, long-winded kind of intro to my quilting and why I feel like I'm struggling so much with the actual quilting and binding. I have bound 2 quilts now, both times butchered attaching. The binding goes all the way around the quilt, and then you have to attach the front end together, and I butcher that every single time. So I'll show you guys. This was the second quilt top that I ever did. I have to stand up. This is Farm Fresh. That's the name of the fabric line. And again, I've linked to it in the, let me get it, it's upside down. I've linked to it down below in the description. And I did not follow a pattern with this. I just made it up as I went along. I don't recommend that either. There's a panel that I use for the center and the animals up in the corner and the top. I think the panel was like $8. It was pretty inexpensive. And then I used a layer cake for everything else. And then I did have to buy, I think, a yard of this red gingham. So, not too shabby for my second quilt top, I don't think. I'm just gonna kind of toss it aside onto the bed. I still need to actually quilt it and bind it. But like I said, I'm so afraid of ruining things now because I spend all this time and money making beautiful quilt tops and then I just butcher them when it comes to actually quilting. This was my fourth. I did this pineapple one in between. I'm gonna show you that one next. This one's also really big, so I think this is 70 by 70 inches. This was an Amberly layer cake from Fatquartershop, also linked below. And the pattern is called Moda Love. It's a free pattern. I might have to stand on the freaking chair. But there, can you see it? It's really pretty. I love everything about it. I am not even going to attempt to quilt this. Like, there's no way I'm going to even try. Okay. Oh, my pants are so dirty. These are my running, painting, everyday house pants. And when we first moved to this house, it was, oh my God. You guys, go to my Instagram, it's Erica D House, and you can see pictures of like my garden if you're interested in that, all the seeds. I just posted that yesterday on my stories. I'm on Instagram like all day. So sharing my workouts, my gardening, home renovation stuff. So when we first moved here, the entire downstairs was blue. It's a 3-story house. We've got a basement, the main story, and the second floor. Bright, bright, bright blue. The bedroom, the master bedroom, was orange and brown. And the owners had just recently done this, like to try to help the house sell. And the house didn't sell. We actually got it for $20,000 under market because it needed so much work, like cosmetically. So when we first moved here, I spent 2 weeks painting this entire freaking house by hand. The only part I didn't do was the basement, part of the basement, and the top, because it's 16-foot vaulted ceilings in the main floor, and I couldn't reach it. Like, I did the best that I could with a ladder, but I'm a little iffy with heights, so my husband had to do that part. So we painted it. It's repose gray. It's a really, really light gray, and then the bathrooms are these beautiful blue, green, gray mix called sea salt. But anyway, so I bought these pants the week we moved here, and I got paint all over them. So that's why my pants look a mess. 2 more quilts to show, and then we'll get to the giveaway. I can hear my kids done with breakfast and getting antsy with cartoon time. This I just finished up this week. I don't know why I can move this chair back. I need to just... I got the fabric from Joann's. It was another 10-inch stacker. I think there was only 20 in there though. And since I'm from Florida, I just couldn't resist it. And I added this white and pink border, and it's like painfully pink almost. It almost like hurts your eyes. But I love it. And I just need to quilt that as well. Okay, let me get some like very cold at this point coffee. Last quilting thing I want to show you. I belong to the Sew Sampler. Okay, and you can see the binding here. Oh my gosh. I belong to the Sew Sampler box through Fatquartershop. I started it because I really wanted to learn new quilting things. I kind of like that every quilt I've made has been different. I've done patchwork. This is a pineapple block. I've done a panel. I've done the Moto layer or the Moto Love, which is just like a simple pattern. And I like learning new techniques. It's not always easy, and I sometimes cry and throw quilts, but I really do like challenging myself because there is a feeling of satisfaction of finally doing something you never thought you could do. And for me, that was sewing. And I will never forget when I finished that first quilt top, the Christmas one, and I was like, I cannot believe I did this. I was so proud of myself. And I really like that feeling. So the Sew Sampler box has been great. I've only gotten the 2 so far. This was February's, and I still need to finish the binding, and I'm gonna show you everywhere I screwed up on it. So each block took me 45 minutes. So we have 12, so what is that, 450 plus another 90? So 540 minutes just to do the blocks. So we'll round up and we'll say 600 to say 10 hours. That does not include cutting 350-ish pieces and the binding and all that. Some of them are kind of crooked, but everything looks better on camera. I really like this. Like in person, I just see so many flaws, and on camera, I'm like, wow, that actually looks really nice. But let me show you where I messed it up at. So this is what my binding looks like. Oh, and my iron, I don't know what happened, but it like scorched it. Or no, I think I can flake some of this off. But it was just on this one side, and when I fold it over to sew the binding, you won't see it. And this is just for me. It ain't going anywhere. I wouldn't, I mean, never say never, but I don't ever plan to make a pineapple thing again because it took so long. You know, if somebody was like, hey, I'll pay you 500 bucks, I'm gonna make some pineapples. But until that happens, I'm not gonna do this again. But when I fold this over, you won't see the iron marks. But this is what happens to my binding. So I try to do the nesting method, and see, this one just came out. So I can shove this back in here, and it really won't look too bad, especially when I fold it over. But it's just so discouraging. And I was in tears. What is it, Sunday? Must have been Friday night. Oh, God. That's what I forgot about it. I put it in the trash. I did this cute little baby quilt, and it was just a patchwork on the front. The seams were a little off, and I was like, well, that's okay. I'm gonna probably start selling some of my quilts because I don't need 20 quilts, you know? My mom makes beautiful ones for my kids, and my husband has one, and she's made me one. So we don't really need that many blankets. And like I said, I'm a minimalist, but I love making things. And so I was just going to start selling on Etsy, and I was gonna sell this Little Red Riding Hood one pretty much at cost of fabric because it was such just a learning experience for me, and it was still structurally sound, everything was okay, but the seams were a little off. So I finally get backing for it this week, and I go to quilt it, and if you guys wanna see it, I'll show you next week. It's so bad. I was using white thread on red fabric, first of all, and I was trying to stitch in the ditch to do the quilting. And if you're doing that, and if you even go up a millimeter, it's so obvious because you're no longer in the ditch and you have white thread on red fabric. So I was a little hormonal, and I was like, I'm done. I texted my mom, my friend Christine, I was like, I'm throwing this in the trash. I don't ever want to quilt again. I'm a little over dramatic. And my mom was like, well, I'll just put it aside. And you know, she's told me that she's had quilts where she doesn't work on them for months at a time, and she's got like 12 projects going right now. And they've been there. Like, I think everyone who quilts has been to the point of tears with one of their quilts. But it was like $12 worth of fabric. I didn't like it from almost the beginning because the seams were off, and I was like, nope, I'm done. It's going in the trash. And then I brought it back out of the trash because I was like, okay, I could at least practice like free motion quilting on it, because it is like a 2.5 by 3.5 foot quilt sandwich now. I mean, I could practice all sorts of different techniques on it, so I'm gonna keep it to practice on. But earlier in that day, I had tried to make a fabric garland. I got this adorable 4th of July fabric. I cut up 320 strips, and I started tying it, and it was fraying everywhere, and it was like a limp noodle. It was not full, and I couldn't make it. In the trash. It was just a bad crafting day Friday. I almost didn't even want to do this. I was like, I'm not even gonna do a Flosstube anymore because I'm so upset and I can't do it. But then I got over it. So now to the giveaway. Thank you guys for hanging on with me. I thought I was gonna be done under 30 minutes, and I'm just now over that. So we have a store in our town called Who Gives a Scrap, which I love that name. And it's all donated craft supplies. My kids love it. It is like a field day in there for them. And I went there shortly after we moved here, and I picked up this cross stitch pattern, and I love it. But I know I'm just probably not gonna get around to stitching it when I have the hometown holiday series I wanna do, and some other secret projects that I will share soon. So I thought I would give it away. So it is this adorable Victorian house trio. Vintage, I'm sure. It's probably from the 90s. It's got some thread in there, not nearly enough to do it. And it even has the Aida cloth is in there as well. So if you would like to win this, comment below with your biggest craft fail. I didn't even know what the question was gonna be, and that was just perfect. We can commiserate together and let me know the biggest project you screwed up on, or the biggest mistake you made, or the most frustrating project you've worked on. You can just comment and let me know, and I will feel better seeing what everybody else has gone through and struggled with. So I think that's all I wanted to show you. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I love this. I watch Flosstubes all night. I will typically get 3 to 5 hours of stitching or sewing time in a day. I work out either right before my kids wake up or while they're watching the morning cartoon. I have a treadmill in the basement. I clean with them awake. I do all that stuff when they're awake. So when they're asleep for nap time and at bedtime, it is mama's time. And I'm gonna make my mojito and enjoy some relaxing cross stitch. So I get about an hour to an hour and a half during their naps, and then 2-ish hours at night, and then sometimes I'll stitch while they're watching a cartoon before bedtime or something. So I get a lot of stitching time in, and I'm always watching Flosstubes in the background. I have my little laptop set up next to me on the bed, and it's just so fun to see what other people are working on. And the Flosstube community is freaking amazing and so nice and so supportive, and I just wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to give back in a way. Like, I really enjoy watching so many other people's Flosstubes, and I feel like I have found so many, and there's not that many people doing Flosstube. I mean, I know there's a lot, but there could be more, and so here's more. Like I said, I watch like 15 to 20 hours of Flosstube a week, so I'm always looking for more people. But I hope to do this weekly. My husband will go fishing one day on the weekend, and so whatever day he doesn't go fishing, I will have him watch the kids in the morning so I can do this. I get a lot done every week. If you want to see more like progress in between videos, follow me on Instagram. The link is below, and it's just Erica D House. And I show everything I work on all day. Like I said, a lot about my gardening stuff. I'm gonna try to start doing gardening videos during the middle of the week. So on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because I can do that with my kids here. They're playing in the backyard, and I can just kind of show you guys what I've planted and what's growing, seed update, stuff like that. And I really kind of want to just do it for my own benefit, because this is my first time having a large garden. I've done a lot of herbs in the past, but never from seed, and certainly not what I'm doing now. It's excessive, you guys. We have bought 2,000 pounds of dirt already. It's only been 70 bucks because we get it by the truckload, but that also means that I have to get 2 buckets at a time from the truck to the backyard over and over and over again. It takes me about 30 trips each time we've gotten a truckload, and it's 1,000 pounds each time. So that's my workout for the day when that happens, because in Colorado, it's a desert environment. I didn't know that. And our soil is clay soil, so it does not drain very well at all. It's very dry. And so I've had to get in a lot of really good rich topsoil so that I can actually start growing. I have a huge raised bed, about 20 containers, 100 square feet along the fence line that I'm doing pumpkins, corn, peas, sunflowers, like all my fall stuff. We've got a 12 by 12 foot area in the front yard that we're gonna do butterfly garden. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. But I'm gonna go, we're gonna go get ready for a hike. Thank you guys for joining me. Like I said, comment below if you would like to win this, and I will announce the winner next week and show you guys my mom's before and after quilts. Oh, and I don't know how to end this.